So today we are going to discuss about a sutra called Akkoska Sutta. So here in this sutta, this sutta is like this. When the Gautama Buddha was staying in bamboo grove near squirrels feeding place at Rajagaha, there was a Brahmin called Akkoska Brahmin. Akkoska means abusive, one who is abusive. So his name was Akkoska Brahmin. He heard that a Brahmin from his clan, Bharadwaja clan, became a monk under Gautama Buddha. So he was unhappy and angry with the Buddha, and he visited where the Buddha was. Having approached there, he abused to the Buddha and criticized to the Buddha. Having abused to the Buddha, then the Buddha said to him, he said, "Well, Brahmin, do friends and relatives and guests visit you?" In reply, this Akkoska Brahmin said, "Yes, Venerable Sir. Sometimes friends, guests, and relatives do visit me." Then Buddha again questioned him that, then when your friends and relatives and guests visit you, then you give something to them, something eatable, something drinkable, or something to taste? In reply, he said, "Yes, Venerable Sir, I give them some time. I give them some time." Then Buddha said, "Okay, if they do not receive whatever you give, then who will get it back?" Then he said, "Venerable Sir, when they not receive, then I get it back." Then the Buddha said, "Similarly, you are abusing with us while we are not abused with you. You are angry with us while we are not angry with you. You are quarreling with us while we are not quarrel with you. So whatever comes from you, we are not receiving that, and it goes back to you. You get it back. It's all belongs to you. This all belongs to you," the Buddha said to the Brahmin. And then the Buddha said, "Who's who abuse in return, and who's who repays anger in kind in return, whoever get anger in return, and whoever fight in return, they are mutually exchanging. But I am not associating in this and mutually exchange. That is why, Brahmin, whatever you are telling to me, this all belongs to you," the Buddha replied to him. And then this Brahmin said, "Oh, Venerable, people knows, including king knows, that the Gautama Buddha is perfect one. Then how it is that Gautama Buddha is becoming angry?" So then the Buddha replied in Gatha, it is like this in Pali, "Akodasa kuto kodho dantasa samajivino sammadanya vimutasa upasantasa tadino." Where is anger for one freed from anger? who is subdued and is perfectly equanimous, who is rightly freed, who is truly, rightly knowing is freed, and supremely wise and tranquil. He said, it means like the Buddha is freed from anger. For him, there is no anger. And who subdued the anger, and he is in equanimous, and he is freed by rightly knowing, and he is wise and tranquil. For him, there is no anger. This gatha, this sloka, conveying this meaning. In next gatha, the Buddha again said, gatha, a sloka, he is worse than him who repays the angry, who repays the angry man in kind. Whoso does not repay anger in kind, he alone wins the battle hard to win. He promotes the well-being of what? Which means, if a person get anger and react in angry, he is the worst person. He is the worst person. And those who are not react in anger, he alone can win a hard battle to win. Such person can win a very difficult battle, who is not reacting in anger. He promotes the well-being of what? He promotes his well-being and well-being of other who is in anger. In third gatha, the Buddha said, Uvinnamatang charati attanocha parasacha parang sankupitang nyatva yo sato upasammati. Knowing that the other person is angry, who mindfully maintains his peace and who endures the anger of both. So he knows that the front person is in anger, is abusing or reacting in anger. So with the understanding, with the mindfulness, he maintains his calmness, peacefulness, and he endures it. He endures it of both angers, angers of himself, his own anger, and angers of that another person who is in angry. Then in fourth gatha, the Buddha said, Uvinnang tikichantanang attanocha parasacha jana manyanti valoti ye dhammassa akovidati, which means his own as well as of other, even people lacking true wisdom may consider him a fool. So those who have lack of wisdom, they think that person a fool who is not reacting in anger. Some people who have lack of wisdom, lack of understanding, lack of knowledge, they consider him as a foolish man, fool person, because he is not reacting. Now we promote, oh, he is abusing you, you should also abuse him. He's getting angry over you, you should also react in anger. Like that we promote to the people. But here the Buddha said, such people will criticize if a person who do not react in anger, who promotes well-being of himself and well-being of others. Now, after heard this gatha, after hearing this discourse, this Akkoska Brahmin become very calm. And he said, oh, it is wonderful, wonderful Buddha, wonderful Venerable Sir, wonderful. And he becomes so calm, so happy with the Buddha, and with the happy mind, and out of peaceful, he said, oh Bhante, oh blessed one, I would like to follow your teaching and I would like to ordain in the Bhikkhu Sangha. I would like to become a monk. Then he took ordination and he became a monk. Within a short period, within a short time, he also became an enlightened person. He attained the highest stage of enlightenment, Arhantahood. So here you can see that this discourse. First, this Brahmin was abusing to the Buddha, but Buddha responds very peacefully to the Brahmin. Oh Brahmin, do your friends and relatives visit to you? Then automatically he changed his mind, and before he was abusing, after Buddha asked this question, do your friends or relatives visit to you, Brahmin? Then he said, he addressed to the Buddha by Venerable. Oh Venerable Sir, yes, my friends, relatives and guests do visit me. See, Buddha did not reply in anger. That is why this Brahmin becomes so peaceful and respectable. He react to the Buddha in a respect way. He said, Venerable. Before, he was criticizing and abusing to the Buddha. And he also became very calm and composed because of he understood that Buddha did not react. Buddha did not react in anger. He did not abuse me. So in this Gatha, he heard that a person who knows that front person, other person is in anger, he maintains his peacefulness and promotes well-being of both, well-being of himself for his own and well-being of other. He got this point, he understood this point, and that is why he became more calm. He replied peacefully to the Buddha. And that is why he inspired by the Buddha. And later, he became a monk and practiced meditation and became an enlightened. So, in our day-to-day life, we also encounter so many such problems. So we can take these examples of the example of the Buddha, and we can promote our own well-beings, as well as we can also promote well-being of others. So with this short Dhamma talk, I conclude here, and I wish may you all be happy, may you all enjoy very good health, peace of mind, may you all be free from dangers and accident. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, so very important sutra. So especially for husband wife. Okay. So it's a very popular sutra about anger management, how anger is such a destructive emotional aspect. So there is one whole chapter in Dhammapada called Kodavagga, which means the chapter on anger. So anger is something that Buddha always wanted us to check. And in today's time, we know very well that anger is also not so much helpful for health. It is harmful for our health. We know very well today in today's time. So in all situation, as Buddha clearly mentioned,
that if somebody is angry to you, and if you are, if you show your anger back, that's something more worst. That's what Buddha said. Because in most of the cases, we sort of justify, saying that, oh, this fellow said something and I'm right. This fellow is simply sort of abusing me. This fellow is just troubling me. So I also have to say something, do something, like that. That is general way of dealing in the human society. But then Buddha is saying that anger cannot be justified, right? You can't say anger is right, but at the same time, it doesn't mean that you don't need to take any action or anything. If you look at this sutra, Buddha kept quiet when this argument was being fired on him, and when he was done, the other person was done, all the things that sort of let out, and he was sort of satisfied to some extent, that I had to tell this fellow and I just told it on his face, that kind of satisfaction when he got. Then Buddha saw that now he is sufficiently calm, Then Buddha spoke, So you can see that Buddha did not keep quiet, but he spoke when the time was there to speak. He didn't speak when it was not the right time to speak, because when the other person has not finished speaking, and if you interrupt, speaking back, then it will become even more difficult for you to deal, right? So therefore, it is also important for us to hear, be patient, hear somebody's trouble, because a lot of time this comes from a place of deep anguish that the person has, So you are giving you are lending your ear to that miserable individual, who is filled with anger. And also, anger is something that is temporary as well. It just comes and goes. So we need not necessarily label someone as an angry person, because that anger is something that just comes and just goes down, comes and goes down. And then we need to hear, and then we can say whatever we have to say from a place of understanding, from a place of tolerance, from a place of peacefulness and compassion, because we should try to understand why that person is behaving in such a way. So you try to understand that person, you try to look at that person's perspective as well. Okay, so therefore Buddha has spoken a lot about anger, and in this particular sutra you can see how Buddha sort of handle. And of course, Buddha is somebody who became enlightened, so anger is gone forever from his heart because he's an enlightened. But before he becoming enlightened, he also had anger issue like all of us, So all of us have that, So therefore, when somebody is angry at you, you must also understand that I too have that roots of anger, and be compassionate to the other person as well, and hear them out, and then, accordingly you respond, when the right time comes. Okay, so something very useful because it is applicable in your family, it is applicable in your workplace. Whenever there are, two individual, then this happens. And sometimes it also happens with yourself as well. You also become little bit little bit frustrated with yourself as well, and that is also something possible. That also we have to look into. Okay, so and there are, of course, sometimes you have to also look at the downside of anger, how anger is non-beneficial, how it spoils the relationship, how it spoils health. All of that one has to look into. And the immediate effect, because the moment you get angry, you're already suffering, you're already, troubling yourself. So practicing meditation will surely help us to manage our anger, to be, at least to be mindful of, because when you are mindful, that when you're aware that you're getting angry, right, the anger is starting when it is actually starting from the beginning, from its root. So you're able to detect that root, that starting point. Then when you have that, then already 60% of problem is solved, because you are already aware of that. And the 40% is all about how do you further manage it. Can maybe take few long breaths, feel how you are feeling when you are actually getting angry. And then when you know that it is so uncomfortable for me, then you want to anyway give it up. You want to sort of pull yourself down. So that's something is important, which is meditation. That it develops our mindfulness faculty, awareness. Because awareness is one of the faculties, one of the powerful tool of our mind. So this is something that can happen as a result of constant practice of meditation. So today you did this, so do it every day, half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the evening, after getting up, before going to bed. If you do this, then you will be able to develop this awareness, and that can help you to manage yourself better in every way. You can manage yourself. Okay, so with this we come to the end of today's program. And as you know, a lot of you know, and a lot of you may not be knowing, so this is every Sunday kind of program, 6 to 7, and this is something that you can attend this program every single Sunday. Just do come and attend. It's really helpful for yourself. Okay, so thank you all of you for coming and listening. Coming here, and I wish all of you good health, happiness, peace and joy. And may you all be able to manage your mind and be able to grow in spirituality and achieve the ultimate happiness of Nibbana. And now let us pray for the well-being of everyone, for the world peace, by chanting the loving kindness and compassionate chanting. Sukhe bhaveya dukkho aham nichang aham viya hita cha me sukhe honto majjata jata verino imam he gama khetam he satta honto sukhe sada tato paranchara jeso Chakavale sujantano sadhu sadhu So